Katie Ethos, and I want to talk to you in this video a little bit about exercise form. It's probably a word that you've heard before, may not really understand exactly what it is, but form is a word we use to describe how an exercise is performed. And it's really important for a number of reasons. I would sort of say 3 reasons, but whenever I say 3, I come up with 4, and if I say 2, I'll come up with 3. So I'm going to say it's a number of reasons. But the first and foremost one is safety. And exercising is all about making sure that you don't hurt yourself. We're there trying to get fitter, trying to get healthier, trying to get stronger. We're doing it to make ourselves better. Well, one way to not do that is to get yourself injured when you're doing an exercise. And there's lots of different little cues you can use in each and every exercise to make sure that you're doing that exercise right. I'm going to show you in a second what I mean by form in a sort of push-up, and sort of the different ways that people, some of the common mistakes that people make. But the number one reason, as I've said, for sort of making sure your form is good is to make sure that you are not going to get injured when you're doing so. Now, if I'm brutally honest, if you're doing bodyweight exercise, the chances of injuring yourself are fairly few and far between, particularly if you're not doing a huge amount of exercise. Yes, if you're going to do 1,000, 2,000 squats in a week, and your squat technique isn't very good, then over the course of 3-4 weeks, that's going to start to hurt and you're not going to do it particularly well. So it does matter with bodyweight exercises, but it matters even more when you start to load weight, and if you're destabilizing the exercise, maybe using a Swiss ball behind me, maybe doing something on one leg, or other bits and pieces like that. So the more challenging you're making the exercise, the more important it is to have good form. And the place to go to create good form is always the basic form of an exercise. So whether that be a free weight, body weight squat, whether that be a standing lunge, whether that be a push-up, or a sort of a bent over row or something like that, and something that is done with minimal weight where you can groove your technique, so that it's really, really good. Because the more you challenge your technique with speed, with weight, with lack of stability and other things, the more chance you've got of it holding it firm if you've got that bedrock of good technique. The second reason why we want to focus on form is because it's about making your body more efficient. And the idea of any exercise program is to make you a better performing human. I often use the word human athlete, which some people kind of smirk at. I don't think it's a great phrase, don't necessarily consider themselves athletes, but I disagree. I think every human being has athletic potential. Yes, some of us have more, some of us have a whole lot less, but that doesn't matter because it's about you being your best athlete and whatever that may look like. And having the right technique, having the right form in an exercise is going to make you better at performing that movement when you're out and about and when you're living your everyday life. Again, perhaps one of the key points to note is that exercising is about improving your movement outside the gym. Unless you are into bodybuilding or gym-based competitions or other things like that, for the vast majority of people, exercise is about making them better when they're living their lives. It's not about making them good in the gym. So good form, good technique helps your joints to hold in the right place, helps your body to transfer load correctly, helps your body to transmit forces from the ground up to your arm and backwards again, helps you to translate forces through your core properly so that you're not sort of putting any load through your back and other bits and pieces like that. So it is about making you get the more benefit from the exercise that you're doing. I think it's worth saying that there are times when form can go out of the window. I also would say though that the only time that does happen is when you're dealing with people at a very, very high level of exercise. So the times when that comes to mind for me is when you've got people pushing their absolute maximum with strength work perhaps, or when you've got people really, really striving in a competition environment. The difference and why it's okay for those people is because those people should be, and I would hope are very, very skilled in the movements they're doing, and they're also very, very good and real bedrock, that kind of 1,000 hours, thousands of repetitions of correct form to rely on and to be able to hold themselves to. So when they lose a bit of shape, okay, it's not the end of the world and they're not going to do too much damage to their bodies. But for the vast majority of people, and certainly for pretty much every client I've ever worked with, form is something we really focus on very, very closely, because it's going to make your body healthier, it's going to make your body perform better. Now I'm going to very quickly show you a push-up, and I'm going to show you a push-up against the wall. And the reason for that is that that's about all I need to show you when it comes to a push-up. The big thing with a push-up is, you generally want your hands beneath your shoulders. You want a really nice strong body, and that's probably the first thing that happens, is that we start to get a bit of a sway in between the body because the core's not working hard enough. Now, again, if we're getting into core stability, we can start talking about whether we have a hollow abdomen and we've got that transverse abdominal, the deep abdominal wall activated, or whether we've got a slightly rounded one and we're using our rectus abdominis. Now, that's a whole new debate. Again, I've covered it in other videos and other blog posts, but for me, really, it doesn't really matter. What it's about is just holding that really nice upright body shape that's really, really strong. What I tend to see with people when they're doing press-ups as well is they tend to get a little bit rounded in the back. That's telling me that the rectus abdominis, the core muscles here, are dominating over the back muscles. We want to see a nice long front, okay, with your ability to push through the chest muscles, keeping the shoulders down in their sockets as well. A lot of people, when they start pushing weights, okay, I know that's different to the push-up, they'll start to see the shoulders come up. We want the shoulders sat down in their socket so that they're in a really good place to be able to perform the push-up. So, the other thing we can do, and very quickly, I use this a lot in my clinic, is this is actually a pull cue, okay, but we use a broomstick or a pole. And what we do is we use that pole, okay, just to sit at the back, because that there is giving me perfect posture. Okay, particularly if I've got a nice gap in between my back, and again, this is something I'll cover in other videos, and it's about then having a really nice long body. Now, I often challenge people who think they know and think they're good at push-ups to put a pole on their back, okay, and to actually do the push-ups with the pole on their back, because it keeps the head in place, keeps the body long. It's much more challenging than you think. So if you think you can do good push-ups, okay, try putting a pole on your back, on the floor. Okay, it doesn't work obviously if you're going to do it incline there, but it's about just having the ability to keep that really good core posture and body posture as you do it. So when we're looking at the push-up, again, I'm going to do it again with a push-up. You can do them off the floor, you can do them off your knees, but you can also do them off a wall, a vertical wall. It's about finding a level that you can do well and you can do with good form. For today's demonstration, I'm literally just going to use that bench there. So what we're looking for is up on my toes, hands underneath my shoulders, nice body, and just take my chest down to the bar and then push back up again. And we're down and up. And that is what I'd be looking for from anybody that's working with me. A couple of things that will happen is that you find people taking their head down, and if you notice my hips aren't moving quite so much there. The other thing that happens is we get a bit of that, where the back's swaying. Now that is quite dangerous. I mean, even there, I can feel a little bit of tightness and a bit of a sort of uncomfortable feeling in my lower back. So that is something to really watch out for. So it's really, holding that core still, not getting the wavy bits, and just taking your chest down, but allowing your hips to move at the same time. And there's not much more to it than that. It's a really nice, simple exercise, but it's really one that can get quite challenging if you're trying too hard. And again, what I find with people is they generally try too hard when they try and go straight to the floor, and particularly if they try and go from a kneeling push-up to a toe push-up, and that's also quite a difficult thing to do. So a little bit about form there. I hope that's made a bit of sense. Remember, form is about safety first and foremost. It's also therefore about getting the most out of your workout. My advice is never ever compromise form, all right? Because actually if you do, you're going to predispose yourself to injuries, and actually you're not going to get the most out of it. So any questions, please do drop me a message in the chat, but hopefully that's been of use. And if you want me to cover some other exercises again, let me know in the chat. Thanks so much.